I'm about to cook us a quick supper, simple meal, but it's something I've never cooked before actually. It's one of Jim's recipes from mine and his book, Celebrating Southern Appalachian Food. I'll put the link to that in the description below. It is a deer meat recipe, venison recipe, venison noodle soup. This year we didn't grind up any of our deer into hamburger, so I had to borrow some from Corey. That's why it's so nice to have neighbors like Corey and Granny and Paul that I can borrow from if I forgot something or need something, and in turn they borrow from me. Corey borrowed some tomatoes this morning, so I guess today we kind of borrowed from each other. So the recipe sounds pretty simple, and I know it'll be really good. It'd be good anytime, but I think it'll be especially good today because it's kind of really cold rain outside and dreary, and this will just be a really cozy supper to have. So it's venison noodle soup. You need 4 cups of beef broth, a half a pound of egg noodles or spaghetti. I've got egg noodles. 1/2 pound ground venison. 1/4 to 1/2 cup of olive oil. I went ahead and got 1/2 cup, so I figured I might need all of it. 2 ribs of celery chopped, 1 small onion chopped, 2 tablespoons of butter or margarine. I'm just going to use butter. Garlic salt to taste, salt and pepper to taste, chives and Parmesan cheese. I don't have any chives, but I'm going to go out in the rain while this is cooking on the stove and pull up some of our Egyptian walking onions and just snip them, and I think that'll be really good. That's just for garnish, the chives and the Parmesan is. So we're going to heat the broth to boiling and add the noodles. In a separate pan, we're going to brown the venison in the olive oil. Saute the celery and onions in butter in another pan. You could probably do it all together, but I'm going to do it like Jim says. When noodles are done, add cooked venison, celery, and onion to soup pot. Add garlic, salt and pepper to taste. Simmer for 10 to 15 minutes, and then garnish with fresh chives and Parmesan cheese. Tip, if you have leftover venison burgers, they can be chopped up and used in the soup, so if you have those. This sounds like a really easy recipe, but it's one that I know will like, and I know especially Matt. That's who I'm making it for. I'm making it for Matt mostly because I know he's going to love it. He loves the noodles, and he loves of course he loves the deer meat. And I don't know why, but I know I don't really make pastas a lot. I'm just not a pasta person, but Matt likes it, and the girls like it a lot. Of course, Katie can't eat it. Katie can't eat this because of the noodles. She could eat everything else, though. I don't know if she'd be willing to, like, just eat the broth and the deer meat, but I also know she's got a steak that she's planning to cook for herself, so she'll be okay. Now, to go with this, I wanted something just simple. So Corey's been making this really great bread, Acorn bread. It's like a little loaf of bread that you don't have to let it rise. There's no yeast in it. And I've told her she needs to do a video about it because it's so good. We've eaten it at her house several times. But I decided I would make it today. Well, I got it out and I tasted it and it tastes good, but it doesn't look like Corey's at all. So I've got it back in the oven. It was kind of doughy on the inside. But one thing that I did different than Corey is she's just been buying Acorn flour because she doesn't have a grinder, and I actually have a grinder, so I grinded my flour. So I wonder if that made it slightly different. I don't know, but it tastes really good. It just looks really browner than Corey's, and it didn't rise as much as Corey's did. But I've encouraged her to do a video about that, so now y'all can help me encourage her because it's such an easy recipe to do quickly without having it rise, but it kind of tastes like a yeast bread. You feel like that's what you're eating. Anyway, okay, let's get started on the venison noodle soup. So I've got the broth in the pot back there and got it turned on and letting it come up to a boil. I'm going to go ahead and add some olive oil in my pan here where I'm going to do the deer meat. Maybe I'll just start with that and see how that goes. And I'm going to add the butter for the onions and the celery over here. Onion. Celery. venison is a real lean meat, so the olive oil will help that, help give it a little fat. Our broth is boiling. I'm going to put in the noodles. Turn off the onions and celery. I think they're getting done. I'm going to turn off the deer meat too. I'm going to assemble. I'm going to move my big pot up so that I'll be easier to get to as it's simmering, and of course easier for us to eat out of too. I can start adding everything. I like soup really, really brothy, so I may need to add either some more beef broth or some water. We'll see. Down a little bit. Looks good. Let's add some salt and pepper and garlic. That's about half a teaspoon maybe. We'll taste and see how it goes. About that much pepper too. And some garlic. Also could have like chopped up some garlic and put it in, sauteed it with the onion and the celery. Let's see if I can get a little bit of the broth and taste it. It's actually really good. I wonder if I should add a little bit more liquid though. I'm going to simmer it for about 10 minutes. I think I'm going to add a little bit more, water to it. Or first I'll see if I've got any beef stock in the refrigerator. I don't have any beef stock, but I've got some chicken stock. Maybe I'll add some of that. I'm going to let it simmer for about 10 minutes, and I'm going to go out and try to find us some onions. Went out and got some of the onions. Rinse off my dirty hands. I wore Matt's big boots. Do you ever do that? Put on shoes that don't fit? And then I was trying to climb up the bank. If you could have seen me, you'd have got a good laugh. Too lazy to go get my own shoes, so I just wore his. He left them by the door where he'd been out earlier. Big mud boots, or pig boots is what we call them. Trying to peel out the outer layer that's kind of got tough. Well, they're not chives, but I think they'll be good. Go ahead and just kind of slice them a little bit. Greens is what I really wanted. I should have started at that end. Be okay. If I could put them in a little bowl, it'd be nice. See if the bread that's like Corey's, if it got any donor. Hope so. Cut us a few pieces of it. Use my new knife. My friend Shannon got me this for Christmas. A little bread knife. Hot, hot, hot. I should wait for it to cool off before I slice it, but I'm not going to. Still kind of doughy on the inside. It's better than it was, though. Let's see, it's leaving dough on the knife there. Hey, Katie. I turned around and Katie's right there.
Can I smell it?
Yeah. It's a little doughy compared to Corey's, but I wonder, it tastes good. I wonder if the difference is because I ground and see it's much browner. You know how hers just looked like white.
Yeah, there might be a little bit of difference in that.
It's real nutty. And explain about einkorn.
Einkorn is just an ancient grain, so you can buy einkorn flour that's already been milled somewhere else, or you can buy berries if you want to and mill your own. And then whatever if you had spelt berries, wheat berries, or the einkorn, they just stay as that grain until you put them in a mill and mill them. I think people describe einkorn, the ancient grain einkorn, as being more similar to modern like white flour, because the berry itself, once the flour is made, it seems to be a lighter, fluffier type of flour. I think people bake with it. I think people would make, like if you want to do a pie crust, a pizza crust, something like that. I did make a pie crust one time out of wheat berries, and I think it's really good too. It's just a little bit more robust, a little nuttier, a little heavier, in my own opinion.
So what's the purpose? I mean, why would you want to do that? Just it's supposed to be healthier? Why would you want to go through the trouble to use it?
Yeah, so the ancient grains, of course, they're a little bit different. Each one of them has a different property. They have a different nutrient profile. The einkorn versus the spelt versus the wheat berry itself. But a lot of people want to grind their own flour for several reasons. Number one, it's fresh. It's very fresh. As long as you keep your berries dry, then whenever you want to go make something, you have the freshest flour you could possibly have. Another reason people do it is to eliminate, if you buy organic berries, whatever flour you're gonna make, you eliminate any concern for pesticide or just nasty contamination that could have got into your flour. Sometimes wheat is a heavily what would you say? It's heavily sprayed crop with pesticide. And that way, not only are you eliminating that problem, you're also getting the full benefit of your flour, because 100% of the wheat, 100% of the germ and the brain is going to be retained in the wheat.
Instead of separated out.
Some blends, Jovial has a blend that's 80%, einkorn flour that's 80%, so 80% of the brain and the germ is inside the flour that they mill. And the reason they remove it is to make it shelf stable. And sometimes they add other things to it to make it shelf stable. But you don't need to worry about it being shelf stable if it's not been ground yet, because it's sitting in a berry in a glass jar on your shelf. So
And those berries, if I understand it right, would last
forever. Pretty much,
yeah.
as long as they're dry.
So like I heard somebody say that if they find some in the pyramids, and
Probably.
they
a
could
very
have,
arid climate.
they could have like ground them and eat them if they wanted to.
It's just, it has amazing health benefits. A lot of B vitamins, a lot of really healthy things. And then, of course, you're eliminating any of the unhealthy things. And it just tastes great. It's a whole nother taste compared to like modern processed bread or modern like white flour.
So Corey and Katie really, and I like it. It tastes good, but of course I'm still partial. I'm still using my white lily, for my biscuits and things like that. But,
which is funny. I spouse all this, and it's not like I can eat any of it right
Katie
now.
can't
Anyway,
eat any of
but
it,
before I got to a place where I couldn't, I was able to do all this stuff, and I
you'll
did.
get back there.
Yeah, I will get back there,
You'll
and
get
so I retain. I remember what it tastes like. I remember some of the things I learned. So.
Okay.
Cool, Mom. I was just coming to see what you were doing.
I'm about done. So
Okay.
if you want to cook your big steak you've got over there,
How do you say that again?
I don't know.
Where's it at?
I'm gonna get Matt and tell him to come
Osobuco.
eat.
The Osobuco, however you say that. Somebody out there will
Something
know
I've
what that
never even
means.
heard of. So
Osobuco. Something I didn't know about either, but I'm looking forward to.
thinking what would go good with this is
Osobuco. Yes.
a jar of kraut. I don't
Oh,
know. Do
you
I
whip
need
it.
kraut?
Go wash my
I
hands.
put it on top of it. That might be good.
It would be. Those are egg noodles?
Yeah,
Where'd you get those?
I bought them.
But how come you decided to make some with egg noodles?
Well, I'm trying a recipe of jams that I've never tried before that's in our cookbook, and I've already tasted it, and it's delicious.
It smells good. I bet it is good.
It's really, really, and so simple. Oh my goodness. And I had to borrow the ground deer meat from Corey,
Oh, cool.
but man, really good. Your daddy's gonna love it.
Cool.
Yeah, and someday you will. Someday you will.
That's okay. Gives me something to look forward
Okay,
to.
let's see if I can find Matt. You love noodles, don't you?
I do.
Pasta.
I do.
And I never make it for you, hardly ever. Unless it's spaghetti or lasagna or something like that. I added a little bit more of the chicken stock, but I'm not sure I needed to.
I like broth.
Well, I do too. That's why I added it. But and then we got some Egyptian onions there to put on top of it and some Parmesan cheese if you want it, and if you don't, it's okay. Jim's recipe said to put chives, but I ain't got no chives. I probably do have some chives outside somewhere in the yard. I just have to go in search of them. Because once you have chives, they kind of spread to other places. And I've got some of Corey's bread there for you. Mm-hmm. It's not hardly as good as hers, but... Okay, let me get mine. Get me some. I asked Matt if he wanted a spoon or a fork. I'm not sure what you need. I could have broke up the egg noodles. I don't know. Is that what you're not supposed to do that though, are you?
Says hey.
I don't know.
I'll just get it in my mouth the best way possible.
Yeah. Place a piece of bread too. The bread tastes real good. It's just kind of gummy. I'll have to ask Corey advice since she's been making it.
Oh yeah, it's very good.
And it was so easy. So easy. Just basically cook the noodles in beef broth, brown the venison, the deer meat, and then saute the other stuff and put it all together.
That's really good.
I don't even have that many spices in it. Of course, you could dress it up and put whatever you wanted in it, but just garlic, salt, and pepper. Jim's recipe said garlic salt, but I don't have any garlic salt, so I just used garlic powder, but that's really good, isn't it?
Real good. Put that on the list to do regular.
Yeah. It's so easy and so hearty. When I went outside to get those onions, I swear it feels like it could snow outside.
It's supposed to be cold.
Yeah, but we're supposed to be in a flood watch, but it felt,
Maybe you'll get a flood of snow.
maybe. Well, You can go sit down and eat. And I will follow you and sit with you and eat.
That's really, really good.
It is really good. I hope you enjoyed seeing how to make this recipe I've never made before. But I think Matt's right. It will be part of our regular lineup, won't it, Matt?
Do
when
a
you're-
hamburger mate too.
That's what I was about to say when you're in a, I was going to say be regular lineup, especially when you're in a hurry or don't have much time to cook. But that's what I was going to say. Thank you, Matt. If you didn't have deer meat or venison, or if you don't want to eat that, you could use ground beef in this. I guess you could even use ground turkey or something like that, ground chicken,
Yep.
if you wanted to. But ground beef would be good in it too. So if you want to give it a try, and if you do, we sure hope you like it. And we're always glad when you stop by to help us celebrate Appalachia.